Welcome to the Lotco Business Podcast, a show all about helping you as a retailer, brand or creative understand the actual business side of running your business. I offer straightforward practical advice about the nitty-gritty of making money from your creative passion. We will be covering bite-sized business and marketing lessons as well as interviews with experts and trailblazers in the fashion, homewares and design industries. My name is Melissa Robbins. I'm a business coach, colour-loving, non-coffee drinking Melburnian. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to today's episode. My name's Melissa Robbins. Thank you so much for being here. Super excited to share another episode with you all about helping you grow your product business. Whether you are a first-time listener, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you enjoy binging the rest of the episodes if you've just started. I think there's over 100 now that you can get into. And then if you're a regular listener, thank you so much as well for being here and turning up and, hopefully subscribing and also maybe providing a review, which would help as well, to let me know which episodes resonate with you, what you take away from an episode, whether it's a guest or a solo one. I'd love to hear your feedback. I wanted to get into today and give you a little intro because this episode is taken from a live that I did a couple of weeks ago now, which was with Stefi from Celia Loves, the most amazing fragrance brand now, because she has many, many other things in the mix as well. And she does such an amazing job with her brand. And I loved talking to her on this Instagram live that we did, which was all about how to prepare and what things she was looking for when she was a judge for the Life and Style Scholarship. Now, the scholarship's over for right now, but it does come up twice a year. And I've been a judge on it for 5 years. And it is one of those things that I just love doing because I get to see the most amazing brands starting out. I get to see the most amazing creative people really, show up, make a huge effort in getting their brand to market, getting themselves ready to sell to, whether it's direct to consumer or wholesale, whether they, show up at markets, but all the effort and work that goes into bringing a product to life, that's not to be taken lightly. Like, it is such a huge thing, and I take my hat off to everyone who does it and who has done it before. I've done it for, many, many years, and right now I work with clients to help them with their business. I don't have my own product business at the moment because I've done that for many, many years, and I just love helping people figure out, which the things I wish I'd knew and the things that I wish that I had someone to help me with, or I look back now and think, if only I'd done that, or if only I'd known that, and so on. So yeah, hopefully bringing lots of those lessons to you here, as well as taking lots of information from all the different clients that I work with and getting to be able to see the behind the scenes of all the different brands that I work with and businesses and retail stores, see what works and see what resonates with people and see what has an impact, and hopefully provide you some of those lessons too. So this episode is with Stefi from Celia Loves, and she's talking a lot about here, what brands need you to get started, what are some things that are important as you get going and for your branding and so on. And I have already had a full episode with Stefi, so I'll link it in the show notes and you can listen back to that as well. But I hope you enjoy this little episode and a little catch up that we had talking about how to get your brand ready for market. So enjoy. All right, I'm about to go live with Stefi from Celia Loves. I'm just going to invite her in to join me in the session.
Hi,
already.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me on, especially on a Monday, the busiest day of the week.
Get it going. And you've had a lot going on as per usual, but
yes.
You've had a lot going on these last few weeks as well.
Yes, definitely. There is so much. Yes, I mean, I'm not too sure what I can and can't say, but yes, we've got a lot of good things happening behind the scenes, and yes, lots of exciting things to look forward to.
And I love that you've always got something going on. That is so good. Like, you've always got new developments, always new things happening, and it obviously keeps it super exciting for you. Like, what's next? What else can we do? What else do our customers want?
Yes, absolutely. It's almost like that shiny syndrome where you're just constantly attracted to new things. One thing that I love is, product development is in my DNA. Like, I'm constantly on the lookout. I love seeing people develop new and interesting ways, or like to reinvent the wheel, I guess, in some categories, or produce something completely new and to the market. And that really excites me and motivates me. But for our customers especially, it gives them a reason to come back and check in.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And the thing is, we're on here because we wanted to talk about the Life and Style Scholarship, because I have been judging it for a few years when it first came out, and I loved doing it. And I saw, a few new judges come on this year, and I'm like, yes, it's so good to see, to have different perspectives from a few different people. I think there's 5 or 6 judges, which is so good because everyone's looking for different things and noticing different things. So yeah, you're on it this year. Love that, because obviously your background and experience is so strong and you have such a strong brand. So for those who are thinking about applying, what are the things that you're looking out for, like you're, hoping to see, or that you're keen to, see others do?
Yeah. So I'll be tapping into learnings of myself and that shared experience with other first in style memories and just products that launch around the same time. So I very much on a whim went to the Life and Style trade shows and didn't really understand, but I just really believed my product, but couldn't quite understand why I believed in my product so much. So the things that I'll be looking for is people who are quite confident and bold in their product that they're delivering, that it is a bit unique in the selling space. I love customer connection. So I'll be looking at how that will translate to merchandising, how that will translate to a sell through. So looking at price points is really important to consider as well. You can have a really beautiful product. If it's priced incorrectly, it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
So they're the kind of key aspects that I'll be looking for. Mainly it is that sense of personality and uniqueness that they'll be bringing to the shelf. And what I interpret that to be, I am a consumer and I'm on the other side wholesaling as well. So I always have my ears to the ground. I'm always listening for feedback from people. Constructive feedback is integral from our brand, and that's literally the core of our product development. So I'll be looking to see what kind of genius will be coming through when it comes to design and how that will look and translate for stores and their interpretation of that as well.
That's right, because you've got that perspective of being in the industry for a while, so you know what you buy, what other buyers are looking for, and as a consumer, what stands out. And I think that you're the perfect example of, you've obviously got a product that has been around for a while in terms of a candle or a fragrance or a room spray, but your spin on things is just so different and your brand is so strong. And so that you can have a product that isn't unique in what it is, but how you present it to the world and your brand behind it, and clearly your makeup of the product in terms of the scents and the packaging and all of that sort of stuff. But really, what is your unique selling point? So that's super important for them to try and express.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes down, to their sense of confidence in the product they're selling as well, their understanding of the product and what they think that they're selling as well. If they have correctly identified a gap in the market and that's the space that they're entering into. So a great example is we're living and breathing this at the moment. We have been developing perfumes for the last year. I knew exactly what I wanted and I identified the gap in the market, and I brought it back to my brand DNA and I was like, okay, how is this going to stand out, and what is our unique spin on this already saturated industry? And that's really important in that, sorry, I've got a courier coming through.
Okay.
I told the team to tell everyone, but I'm like locked away from all the couriers coming in and out. But yeah, so I'm literally living and breathing this at the moment. And the next trade fair, we're entering into a new category for the brand. So everything that I'm looking for in the scholarship program is everything that I'm applying actively in real time as well. So I'm very, very excited by that piece. And I think it's just that confidence and understanding exactly what your product is doing for the market and the benefit to the consumer at the end, not just the wholesaler, but the people coming to buy it as well.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't ever think of it in a single transactional sale. Like, yes, you sell it to a wholesaler, but then they have to then be able to sell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that communication pathway and connection point between the wholesaler is really, really important, because they have to also then understand your USP to then on sell it as well.
And so that's probably where your packaging comes into it so much as well, because as you say, like, it's not just that the retailer wants to buy it, the stockist, but then the customer is going to notice it, or they're going to get the information on the packaging, or, what sort of things do you portray on your packaging to sort of help, sell the product as well when the salesperson isn't standing there, essentially.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's just so interesting to see how people interpret different spaces. I'm really obsessed with that. Like, I could speak about this for hours, is just that product development piece and what it means to different people. It's, you can read the same book but take away different meaning from it. So I'm very, very excited to see the new breed and who's coming through, and to be part of the panel as well and impart some wisdom of what we've learned along the way, because we very much were so green when we started, and I don't know how many trade fairs we've done now, but we're now entering the international phase of it as well. So again, we're living this very much for the next markets that we're venturing into.
That's exciting. And how long have you been going now?
So as a company, we were incorporated in 2019. That was pretty much my first stronger selling years with Life and Style, but we were a hobby before then. So I think it's about 7 years now.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the thing, like, you didn't start out with in this way. Like, you've developed as a brand, you've really found your brand voice. Clearly you had a strong brand at the start, but you've really developed your brand voice and who you stand for as a brand. And I think that is such a crucial element as well, that knowing who you are.
Absolutely. And that,
not.
yeah, exactly. And learning to say no. And I really appreciate you saying who you're not, because we very much in the beginning tried to be agreeable to so many people. It was actually quite exhausting. And we lost a little bit of our design and integrity when it came to our brand core foundations. So we live by 4 key principles, which is ever better, which I brought from a previous place of work. And that was to be constantly looking for and striving to be better than you were, learning, understanding, upskilling. And that's why for me, that constructive feedback loop is so important, so integral, because that's how our brand has developed and stayed so strong these last few years. Then we also have like this BFF energy. We know how we want to interact with people. We know what our solutions-based focused lens looks like. So we know how we choose to show up to problems and opportunities and everything. Then we're going to have a brain meltdown. Iconic is another one. So in our development, so not just being okay with something that's great, but like, how do we push the boundaries and how do we really stretch and grow as a brand and be iconic in our product development, and how we choose to show up in the industry. And then there's one more, get it done. So literally, once you have that idea, it's then really important to execute it really well. And what does that look like? And that planning phase, I feel like, is missed a lot, because people will develop, then think about marketing. They'll develop, then think about something else. And they kind of focus so much on that product development piece that they forget about the selling pathway, the customer pathway, and the execution on the other end. So get it done is like, but every bucket needs to get done as well.
When you think of that whole product, it all starts those elements of sales and marketing all start from the product side as well, development side as well.
So as soon as you're developing is how, and then that comes back to your question, was like your USP. What does that look like? Not just to your wholesaler, but to the end consumer, and how do you fit in the market, or how do you stand out, and what is your why, what drives you, but also what you aren't. And I think that's a very special thing to be able to recognize, is what you aren't as a brand. We aren't kitsch, we aren't boring, we aren't beige. And I've tried to be neutral before, and it never sold for our brand, because it went against what we truly believe and are inspired by. So I guess I'm looking for those same characteristics for this scholarship program.
And I would highly encourage, this is the first time you've judged it, so you obviously don't know in terms of the aspect of how many. And what I would say is there's never as many people who apply as what I thought that there would.
Okay.
So I would highly encourage people to apply, because the chances of you standing out are high, because generally in previous entries, I think sometimes there's been like 25 people. Other times there might have been 50 to 70, but there's not, that's pretty good numbers for people to apply, like, and be able to stand out. So if anyone's just like, I'm not quite sure I'm ready, still apply if you qualify for the criteria.
Totally. And if they're not feeling ready, then that emotion of going through the application and understanding is actually really forcing you to consider your brand a bit more and putting it under the lens. And it's like when you get nominated for business awards, going through that process, even if you're not confident you're going to get it, going through that process is such an integral and important learning piece as well, because you are forced to analyze you probably might see a gap that you can then act on really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's not just winning, it's that being involved in life and style is really, really important. Being amongst it, going through, and then taking all the feedback from the judges, because through that feedback, I don't even know if we're allowed to give the feedback, but whatever it might be, whatever they can get from that experience is ultimately going to propel them further into their category.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, there's a little option for feedback. So yes, you can give feedback in there.
I love it.
And obviously, the more people get, the better. So, and definitely, as you say, like I just did what's it called, an application for something, and I just went through it and I was like, how have I been doing this? Now that I see the questions that they asked, I could totally see all the gaps in my brand and my customer journey and stuff. So that is such a great piece of advice, like really going through those motions, and it will help you figure out what you need to work on or what you need to improve. I love that. That's really good.
And just refocus as well, because what we think is important might not be important to somebody else.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And definitely, I think the criteria, I'll just sort of list out a couple that I can think of, that Australia and New Zealand business, less than 2 years old in terms of the trading. You have to have a category that fits into the life and style category in terms of homewares, lifestyle, fashion, beauty. There's a whole list on their website. And I'll link in the stories after this as well and share the link to apply. I think they're the main ones, but really, it gives you a series of questions to answer. And I think, as you say, like, Stefi, you're looking for certain things, I'll be looking for certain things, the other four or five judges will be looking for certain things. So you've really got that chance to, everyone's looking for different things. So it doesn't matter who you are or what you look like. Definitely give it a go and apply. And as you say, it's a great pathway to get in front of the right people, life and style. It's a great opportunity to have a stand, which can be, they're not always affordable for everyone because they do cost money to get there and to set up and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially if you're a new brand less than 2 years old, that cash flow analysis, for me, if there's only 25 people applying, then absolutely you should be trying to get what you can and really reinvesting back into the brand. If you look on the panelists as well, so the judges for this particular scholarship round, it's really interesting to know what is important to everyone. And I think it's a really beautiful mixture, because at every point it's like a beginning, middle and end lens, basically. So there's somebody in that funnel, in that development process, and you're getting analysed by somebody at every kind of point. And so if you do have the option for feedback, just in case you guys can't tell that I'm obsessed with feedback, I would be taking it, because through feedback, you just will get better and better and more refined. So for me, this is a great learning. I love the deeper woody fragrances. I love the more masculine fragrances. And so I released some products that were very much in that category without any feedback, just because I wanted to do it. And I was like, well, if I like it, somebody else will. But my user, the people who love our brand, the people who are invested in our brand, are tutti frutti, sweet, nose scented people, and our sales weren't that great. And because I didn't take enough of that feedback, I didn't take enough time to really understand what they wanted from us as a brand as well. And so along the way, if you're taking feedback in these early stages, you can circumvent making bad decisions. You can make better ones, more informed, and get that intel, and then understand how other people who will be sitting alongside you in a store, who will be up against in the world with you, how they view your product. I mean, when I go to trade fairs, my number one thing that I say every single time is, what are you looking for today? Not just in my brand, here. I'm constantly asking the question, what are you looking for? And it's always something new, always something a bit different, because everyone's buying from the same market. So they really want something that's going to excite them and feel really inspired and energized from. So I'm really excited to see what's coming through.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think the feedback thing, so just on that, obviously we talked about in terms of this for the scholarship, that they'll be able to get some feedback from from the questions that they're answering, because then they'll sort of get their own feedback, but also from other people. In terms of for you getting feedback, besides seeing sales and stuff like that, do you constantly ask your customers directly? Do you ask your wholesalers? Like, where do you get the feedback from?
I mean, every interaction, what's selling well for you? And then they'll say X, Y, and Z, and we note it down. We also do reports so we can see what products are selling really well. We don't expect every single product to be a top selling and top performing product, but we want to see it really even and balanced. There are some fragrances, Japanese honeysuckle and chilled sangria. We cannot introduce anything else at the moment that's going to top those sales. They are outliers. So then we look at the next meaty part of the sale process and what is selling really well. So it is asking them, it's in our EDM strategy and our flow strategy, invite people to write reviews after they've tried a product and constantly taking that feedback. And ultimately the sales do speak for themselves, especially not just the first, but their second, third and fourth ordering is really important.
Okay. Yeah. So if people are coming back again and again, you can see that repeat purchase, they're loving that scent.
Yeah. And it's also different categories. So our woody fragrances, so we have our collection. We've got a really beautiful scent profile against our collections now, and we know we've introduced Tuscan leather knowing that it won't be a top seller, but knowing that there's a market for it. And so then people have diversity when it comes to our range. It sells really, really well in WA and it sells really, really well in Victoria, but it does not sell well in New South Wales and Queensland, and that's because they're sunshine states. It's coconut, it's that real seaside smell. So our sea mist sell really well, and our pink Himalayan salt sells really well, and that chilled sangria and Japanese honeysuckle, that real uplifting vibrancy translates very well in the warmer climate. So it's also understanding how your product flows across regions as well.
That is so important, and I love that you can really see that data and feedback and understand the analytics of all that sort of stuff too. And that's it. Like, you've got to keep adding new things because you don't know when your next one will be the next star or the next, best product. You have to constantly sort of have those things, and not, when you're first starting out, for those people who are just doing scholarship that we're digressing for other things, but definitely when you're first starting out, test a few different things. Like, don't just have one color palette or don't just have one style, but have, a few variations on that. But yeah, as you go, constantly introducing new, but then analytics and testing out your numbers and tracking your numbers is really important.
And just having a go as well. So if you're really confident in your decision making, really back it and really understand where that decision is coming from and on what basis. My earlier example, it just came because I was like, I wanted to do it, when really we're at a stage in the brand where I can't just do what I want to do anymore. I have to be really accountable, not only to our wholesalers, but our customers as well. And so my experience and learning that I am so excited to share in the judging panel is, what can they do at the beginning that really sets them up for success, longevity as well? So not necessarily fast growth, but maybe stable growth. And what does that look like? And what are the channels that they'll have in their brand strategy that welcomes and allows constructive feedback? Not just saying, I don't like this smell. It's a very subjective thing. That's fine. You're not going to like everything. But why it doesn't hit? Is it the packaging? Is it the colorway? I love blue and green and I put it in my brand all the time, but blue and green does not sell well for my brand. So understanding that that's a bit of an ego-driven decision and finding the right shade and formulating, because what we think will work, if we have to be open to that feedback, and just standing out and just being excited by your product as well, I think is very, very important. If you're not excited by your product, can't expect your wholesalers and customers to be as well. So you have to feel so inspired and energized from what you're doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the application, just share as much of that as you can, and there's definitely room to add a little bit more than simple short sentences. You can add a little bit more about all of that sort of thing. And if you have, I would highly encourage people to use good imagery, because then and the links that actually connect to the Instagram or the website. Like, you might not even have a website yet, but you might have an Instagram. But because as judges, you sort of need to see something visual to it. Can't just be an idea, because you actually need to see some of that visuals, because some people don't quite even put that in yet. So it's really important to have some sort of strong visual, even if it's your own, but at least it's sort of an idea about who the brand is.
Absolutely. I really love your point about strong imagery as well. We noticed a great change in our brand from when we used lower quality images to high quality styled images. It just elevates the product and situates you somewhere different as well. So absolutely have good language, be really confident in the words that you're choosing, make them exciting. Personality is okay in products, and I feel like a lot of products lack personality in their copy, and it's okay to stand out from the crowd.
I love that. And I think it's if you're not feeling confident, how do you embody that confidence? It's really about trying to express your excitement, express who you are, and express how it's a huge thing for you to bring something to market as well and back yourself in that, because the fact that you've actually gone ahead and created a brand and created a product is amazing in the first place.
It's huge. And then going through a process like the scholarship application can highlight where the weaknesses are. So then you've got a chance and opportunity to work on those as well. That's why I really love these opportunities. So you can really, spotlight, just like a sieve. You can kind of see where the holes are, you can feel it, and that's okay, because even us as a brand, we're constantly developing, recognizing that we have deficits that we need to overcome.
Yeah.
And it's always great to then sit back in reflection of your hard work, which is product development, of launching, of starting a brand, and then look back and go, okay, we've done all this incredible work, let's celebrate this, but okay, we really have to start working on X, Y, and Z. Our customers flow at the moment, we're integrating to a whole new program so we can better serve our customers. And just having that forward thinking as well, like I guess I'm looking for that in brands as well, because I want to see the success of a new breed and of a new product entering the market. So it's all of those key pieces being like, okay, this person's equipped to keep learning and growing and going forward, and so worthy of the opportunity as well. That's what I'm also looking for.
Amazing. That's so exciting. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of applying. I think that's, don't see it as an onerous task. Just enjoy the process.
And I think it's pretty simple. I think there's like 5 or 6 questions and some information, obviously visuals and stuff like that added in there. So it's not overly complicated, but it is about, as you say, learning from it, figuring out where you can improve or what you can do better, but just give it a go, and definitely the chances are high. So we can't wait to see everyone come through.
I know. I was like, and show off as well, I think is really important. It's okay to show off in these circumstances. I'm excited. Well, thank you so much for your time, for having me on. I hope people have been able to take away some key little tips and what I'm particularly looking for. And then, have a look at all the other judges so you can see what they'll be looking for too.
Yes, amazing. Thank you so much, Stefi. I can't wait to see everyone who comes in. And thanks everyone for joining the live. And I'll put the links in story as well for people to apply. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Have a great Monday.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Stefi. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to bringing you more next week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Lotco Business Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you subscribe to receive future episodes as they are released. And I'd be so grateful for a review on Apple Podcast. If you would like a copy of the show notes or any of the links mentioned today, please jump onto my website at thelotco.com.au/podcast. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to chatting to you again soon.